From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Our top story, legislators, aides, and others have paid tribute to the late state representative Max Grunberg, who died Sunday.
The Anchorage Democrat was remembered as a stickler for details with a penchant for amending bills that he thought could be improved. He also was remembered for his kindness. The remembrance was held Tuesday in the House Speaker's chambers. It was attended by legislators from both parties and from the House and Senate. Governor Bill Walker and Lieutenant Governor Byron Malott paid their respects, as did several former legislators. Grunberg's wife, Kayla Epstein, closed out the memorial by pleading with lawmakers to pass bills currently under consideration that were near and dear to her husband's heart.
They're non-controversial, but out of love of him, I think they'll go through a little faster. But a bill that was my passion was to go back to 120 days. You can't imagine how hard Max was working.
I always learned something from him. Whenever any conversation I had with Max, I walked away knowing something that I didn't know before we had the conversation. And he would never run out of time.
He was really the grandpa of the legislature. He had a lot of children and grandchildren that bickered, but he always made sure that it was done respectfully. He always intervened when he needed to intervene.
A real stand-up guy, a real man, a man's man who had integrity and honesty, and the kind of guy you go to in a difficult situation. So Max was a nudge and a mensch.
And Max, you always do the right thing. You always do the right thing. And it's a wonderful thing to be remembered as a person who's a mensch and always wanted to do the right thing.
We couldn't do any of this that we're talking about if Max had not went into the United States Navy, defended our country for our freedom. Thank you, Max.
A Tok man claims he is not guilty after Alaska State Troopers reported they found more than $35,000 worth of drugs and stolen firearms on his property. 48-year-old Floyd Stuck faces multiple charges in Fairbanks Superior Court, including several degrees of misconduct involving a controlled substance. Stuck's attorney entered a not guilty plea to Judge Bethany Harbison earlier today. Troopers arrested Stuck after receiving tips from the Tok community about suspected drug activities. Investigators say a search yielded 32 firearms, $3,000 worth of meth, and what would amount to nearly $30,000 worth of heroin. Troopers also reported they found other drugs, gold nuggets, and cash during the investigation. Stuck is scheduled to appear for a late April jury trial in Tok.
2 witnesses took the stand today in the trial of former Nanook hockey player accused of rape. 24-year-old Nolan Youngman, who is charged with 2 counts of sexual assault, heard testimony from the nurse and the best friend of his alleged victim. We have more on this report.
Today in the Nolan Youngman case, the sexual assault nurse examiner, Sherry Witzel, took the stand. Witzel had been the nurse who took the victim's statement when she came to the authorities 5 days after the alleged rape. The nurse was questioned by the defense about if she had found any kind of proof of the assault on the victim, and she said no.
Did you find any physical signs on Ms. Reed that were consistent with forcible sexual assault?
No. The next witness that came forward was the best friend of the victim, Kelsey Tyler. According to the victim, she had immediately went over to Tyler's house after the alleged rape. Tyler read the prosecutor the text messages the victim had sent her immediately after the incident. The text stated Youngman had just forced himself on her.
He said, Youngman just forced himself on me and had sex with him. I woke up with him on top of me. I'm crying now.
And that is exactly the text that you received?
Mm-hmm.
When the defense questioned Tyler, it was brought up that she had interned at a women's shelter for abuse victims. The defense asked if it was her or the victim that used the word rape first.
She said that no one forced her to have sex with him, so in that case, yeah.
Did she say what type of sex? Whether
Rape.
it's intercourse or, oh, she said rape?
Yeah.
She used the word rape?
She has used the word rape to me before, yes.
I'm talking about right when she came down to your room.
She said, then no. In that moment, she did not say rape. She said he forced him to have sex with me.
The trial is expected to finish up tomorrow with the last 3 witnesses. Sarah Dabowski reporting.
When we come back, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services are hoping for public input on new hunting and trapping regulations. We'll have those details.
Also, this year's Nenana Ice Classic should be full of excitement as this winter has been quite warm. Those stories and more when we return. Stay with us.
Welcome back. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is looking for public input on changes it's making to hunting and trapping regulations in Alaska's wildlife refuges. The proposed rule would prohibit predator control on refuges unless such activities are determined to be necessary for their management. The agency says those changes are meant to clarify how outdoorsmen can take predators in non-subsistence ways from national wildlife refuges across the state. Limits would be placed on wolf hunting seasons and methods for hunting certain bears. The move would also update a number of regulations for related closures and restrictions. More information can be found on the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service website. Alaska Region Chief of Refuges, Mitch Ellis, says the changes are meant to protect species that don't have a commercial significance.
Congress clearly stated that we are to conserve natural diversity in these areas, and that means, national wildlife refuges, they're intended to be a haven for all wildlife, not just the ones that have economic value or the ones that we can hunt. It's really an ecosystem approach to management, keeping every cog in the wheel.
This winter is on course to set an all-time record for never seeing the thermometer drop to 30 below or colder. This leaves many wondering how the odd weather will affect this year's Nenana Ice Classic. With many lakes and rivers still showing some open water, the question is, how are things on the Tanana River? This morning we called to Nenana to talk with officials about what the conditions are like for the raising of the tripod in early March. The answer we got are very surprising and should only add to the excitement of possibly winning over $300,000 in Alaska's biggest jackpot contest.
Yep, it's moving right along as usual. We took a measurement on the 8th, I think it was, of February, and it was 33.5 inches. That was about 100 feet out. Well, we have to have a minimum of like 3 feet of ice. We dig trenches in the ice to put the tripod in, so we dig down like 2 feet. So we have to have at least 3. I mean, we could still get some cooler weather. February's not over yet, and, I've seen it even cold in April after we stopped selling tickets.
Tickets went on sale February 1st. They're $2.50 a piece and can be found all around town. Just look for the red buckets. By the way, last year's winning total was $330,000.
With all the electronic devices and computer graphics out there nowadays, some new ways are being found to help hospital patients. Monty Bowen has details now in this week's Health Report.
Imagine being immersed in this peaceful underwater world.
Oh my God, this is incredible.
The woman whose voice you hear
A shark just went by my head.
is not scuba diving. She's a patient in the hospital.
Oh my God.
Doctors are studying the effects of virtual reality on hospital patients whose real-world surroundings can be sterile, uncomfortable, sometimes frightening.
An incredible opportunity to escape the four walls of the hospital.
Patients are carried away to different worlds, like Iceland or the ocean. People who have been tested on the virtual reality system say it's helping relieve stress and anxiety.
This was like the greatest diversion that I could have ever had.
Oh my God.
That feeling, illustrated perfectly by this young boy. Doctors also use virtual reality to turn wheelchairs into roller coasters. Younger patients have been most willing to test the system, but it's older patients who appear to be most amazed by it and could get the biggest benefit. This is Monty Bowen reporting.
The Health Report is brought to you by the Ear, Nose, and Throat Clinic, located in the Medical Dental Arts Building, and by Interior Women's Health, located on 1626 30th Avenue.
Joe Cook is up next to fill us in on some UAF sports as teams are finishing their seasons as strong as they can.
Also, local teams and players are winning championships.
That's up next.
Welcome back, Interior Alaska. It's time for your local Tuesday Sportscast. After losing a winnable rivalry game to the Anchorage Seawolves, the Alaska Nanooks regrouped for a road win in Montana. UAF, they defeated the MSU Yellow Jackets 66-61 on Saturday. The victory clinches a GNAC tournament berth for the Nanooks. UAF led by 6 at the half, and they went on a 13-2 run to break a 43-43 tie in the second half and head off the Jackets from there. 8 of Alaska's 9 players scored. The Nooks finished their season-long 4-game road trip with a 3-1 mark. Alaska is now 17-7 overall and 11-5 in the GNAC. They are tied for third place with number 25 Seattle Pacific. Alaska's senior forward Javante Williams was a huge part in the Nanooks win on Saturday. He scored a game-high 26 points and grabbed 7 boards. He scored 7 of Alaska's final 8 points in the win over the Yellow Jackets. Monday, Williams was named GNAC Player of the Week for the second time this year. The last player to do that in a season was Andrew Kelly back in 2014. Williams also had a 22.7 rebound game in his homecoming at UAA on Thursday. Williams is ranked 3rd in scoring and 2nd in rebounds this season. Only one other player in the GNAC is ranked in the top 5 in those categories. The Anchorage native is averaging 18.6 points and 7.4 rebounds this season. Alaska hosts number 1 Western Oregon on Thursday night. Unfortunately, the women's team was on the wrong side of the scoreboard on Saturday as they split conference games. After a 70-60 win over Central Washington on Thursday, Alaska hosted NNU Saturday night in the Play for K game. The Crusaders had 5 players score in double figures. They were up by 15 going into the 4th. But the Nooks fought back. Kaylee Jold had a game-high 19 points to lead Alaska's rally. Aranisha Smith, she added 14 points and 5 assists. Cassie Williams, she came off the pine to score 15 points. Her three-pointer made it a 77-74 game in favor of NNU with 4 seconds left. But the Crusaders, they hit a free throw and they hold on for a 78-74 win. UAF is 11-14 overall and 6-10 in the GNAC. They travel to SPU and St. Martin's this week. Slowly but surely, as the season has progressed, the Nanack ski teams seem to be peaking at the right time. Here's a recap of their weekend in the Nanack Corner. Sunday, the Alaska Nanooks women's ski team had one of their own earn first place. Out of 95 skiers, Anatina Marksett, a junior, was first among Central Collegiate Ski Association skiers in the 5K race in Sunday's CCSA Conference Championships. She finished in 14 minutes 55 seconds and was 4th overall. Fellow junior Nicole Baith was 4th for CCSA skiers and finished 7th overall in 15:04. Sarissa Lammerts was 10th and Hannah Rowland was 21st, and the woman placed 2nd overall after 2 days of skiing in Minneapolis, Minnesota. On the men's side, sophomore Seiji Takagi was 10th amongst conference skiers and was 15th overall in a field of 116 to lead UAF, his time 21:17. Alaska would take spots 10 through 13 with freshman and West Valley product Max Donaldson, sophomore Alexander Eckert, and junior Mike Fehrenbach. On the first day, Fehrenbach was 3rd in the 15K race and Baith placed 5th for the women's team in the 10K race. After the runner-up finish for Alaska, they will travel to Marquette, Michigan for this weekend's NCAA Central Region Championships. They will try to qualify 3 men and 3 women for the NCAA Championships in March.
Nanack Corner, brought to you by Sports Medicine Fairbanks.
And with 4 Ice Dogs players, the NAHL Selects team finished 2-0 at the NAHL Top Prospects Tournament in Plymouth, Michigan. The Selects win 6-3 over the U.S. National Team Development Program squad today. Todd Burgess and Logan Coombs both scored. Team Midwest, they lost 5-1 to Team South. Ice Dogs, Joseph Ingman, and he had the goal, and Adam Anderson, he added the assist in the loss. The Monroe Rams weren't the only interior hockey teams winning titles over the weekend. A number of teams and curlers picked up hardware. Fairbanks' Greg Persinger, Colin Huffman, who was born in Fairbanks, curled with Brady Clark and Philip Tickler. They won the men's national curling title on Saturday in Jacksonville, Florida. Vicky Persinger on the Nina Roth rink was a women's national runner-up. Greg will curl in the Championships Cup in Alberta in April. In the hockey, the Alaska All-Stars U19 girls team, where they won the Anchorage President's Day tournament, the U16 U19 title on Sunday, beating Palmer 4-2. That team has 4 interior skaters on it, and they got the title. And coming up, seen here, the Faja Bantam Knights won the C title on Sunday, 6-2 over Palmer. Faja Pee Wee Knights also won the C title and 3-1 win over the Aha Comets. Also of note, the U17 Eclipse soccer team finished 2nd overall in the Las Vegas Cup International Showcase on Monday. Their only loss was the Adidas Division Final, 2-0 to Wisconsin. And that'll do it for sports tonight. Thanks for watching. Please tune in tomorrow night as I will be joined with some very special guests. Weather is next after the break, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey everyone, welcome back into weather for a Tuesday night. Mike Schultz recovering from a cold. And all in all, it wasn't a bad day. We started off this morning with clouds and a few flurries, and things started clearing up after that. And we're looking for some really nice weather. Temperatures a little bit cooler, but lots of sunshine in the forecast. And speaking of forecast, here's what we're talking about tonight. The cold temperatures will return this evening, around 11 to 15 degrees below zero. Tomorrow, we're looking for, actually later on tonight, another good night is opportunity. There's opportunity for some auroras. There's a pretty good band moving our direction, so we'll hopefully keep that in mind. And elsewhere, still no snow expected right on through Sunday. So the snow is not going to be falling for a long time the way it looks right now, so we'll keep that in mind. Here's once again a reminder that the air quality is at a stage 1 for Fairbanks and North Pole and healthy for sensitive groups. And our satellite and radar is showing a lot of energy moving in from the west coast, but it's just kind of hitting that big high pressure ridge and just being reflected back. So nothing is expected to make it into the interior. It's going to be pretty nasty up and down the west coast, but otherwise things are pretty good across the interior and over southeast Alaska. Skies are starting to clear out too. On the big map, over southeast Alaska, a few showers around the Ketchikan area, 44 degrees there, 37 at Juneau, 30 degrees, sunshine in the Anchorage Bowl. Along the Kodiak area, looking at more rain, 33 degrees there. Some mixed rain and snow at Cold Bay, 34 degrees, and winds are starting to pick up on the west coast. There could be blizzard conditions later on tonight over the Seward Peninsula, including the Nome area. And Barrow, 10 degrees below zero for their high today, with Fort Yukon in the plus figures of 1. Lower 48 weather, again more moisture moving ashore in the Pacific Northwest. That big high pressure ridge is not showing any signs of moving. So it's that big roller coaster effect once again, pulling the cold air in from Canada, helping to slam it down across the deep south, and that is triggered from a lot of severe weather across Florida. This frontal boundary here responsible for 10 to 15 tornadoes reported. Fortunately, no fatalities, but a lot of property damage, as you can well imagine. And that system is moving rapidly out to the east. Now, the west coast is getting ready for a new onslaught of rain and snow. Heavy rain expected from the Pacific Northwest all the way down to the Bay Area, and then more rain across the Southern California areas too. And more snow in the Sierra Nevada is something they need for their drought they've been going through. The overall outlook on the jet stream is way up to the north. Not a whole lot of movement to it, so no real major storms to talk about, and continue warm across the deep south. Our weather fact for today, very interesting. In 1903, Pokegama, Minnesota. During a cold snap, the temperature there plunged to 59 degrees below zero. That's pretty darn cold. That may be one of the coldest temperatures ever recorded in the lower 48. We definitely top them here, that's for sure. Again, thanks to Mount McKinley Bank for sponsoring our kids' weather every night. And speaking of the kids, they'll be back with us next week from Wood River Elementary School. Here's your forecast for tomorrow for the northern sections. More blowing snow in the Barrow area. Heavy snow in Nome, 4 to 6 inches is possible there, with sunny skies at Fort Yukon, so a real wide variety of weather. In the interior, beautiful weather, lots of sunshine for all areas with temperatures above normal for this time of year. 24 degrees at Healy for the warmest temperature. Over southeast Alaska, mostly cloudy skies in Juneau, still some scattered showers around the Ketchikan area, only 43 degrees for the high in Ketchikan. And over the southwest part of the state, snow showers are expected for Cold Bay. Snow should be ending in Bethel, and periods of rain are expected at Kodiak. And down across the interior sections, the south central sections, widespread sunshine will cover the entire area from Anchorage to Homer to Valdez, and temperatures very comfortable, a little cooler in the Valdez region. Here's your numbers out the airport right now. 14 degrees after a high of 17. The low last night 4 below. The record high in 1947. 44 degrees that day, but 47 below in 1915. And the sunrise and sunset 8 hours and 37 minutes. a gain of 7 minutes from yesterday. Now our forecast for tonight, a chilly night with mostly clear skies, 11 below, colder in the low-lying areas, warmer the higher up you go because of the inversion going on. And over the south central sections, or the interior sections tomorrow, I'm saying, expected to be temperatures around 14 to 20 degrees, depending where you're at, with lots of sunshine. The extended forecast, as you can see, temperatures cooling down a little bit on Thursday, but then slowly warming back up by the weekend. Again, no snow in the forecast, and overnight lows will also continue to be quite chilly, 15 below for Friday night, and then slow warm up to 5 below by Sunday night. And our photograph tonight, this was sent by Jim Lund, Fog and Mount Denali, because you can see, if you look really hard, about 11 o'clock of that wisp of smoke coming up, there's the big one in the distance there with the fog in the valley. A nice photograph. And again, as always, if you have a photograph to share, send it to photos@ktvf11.com.
And before we go, a reminder that KTVF is having another Watch and Win contest running every night during the Fairbanks Evening News and News Center Final.
That's right, Daryl. It's your chance to win 400 gallons of heating fuel from Alaska Fuel Services.
Just look for that Alaska Fuel Services truck sometime during one of the newscasts.
And then go to our website at webcenter11.com, find the contest section, and enter with your chance to win.
And that will wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. From all of us here at the News Center, we hope you have a great night.
Good night.